A lot of you are dealing with eustachian tube dysfunction and tinnitus, and there has been many studies going out right now about how vitamin D deficiency can lead to a multitude of problems when it comes to not only the clicking sounds and the muffling sounds, but the buzzing sounds and the ringing sounds of tinnitus. It's starting to become a huge issue in our world, and due to COVID, the numbers only have gone up. And the studies are coming out now really saying how a lot of you, and it's always been the case, but it's more prevalent now that vitamin D deficiency and many of us have gone down, especially since COVID. We spent a lot of time indoors, haven't gotten a good natural sunlight. We're noticing that with the auditory system, there's a lot of inflammation. What do I always preach about on this channel about how to overcome issues with the inner ear, issues with eustachian tube dysfunction, is there's got to be adequate circulation. You speak to a lot of doctors, they'll either put you on nasal spray or they'll put you on some kind of allergy regimen, and they'll explain to you that due to old age, your circulation isn't going to be as good. That's why you see a lot of times, you see a little older patients usually deal with tinnitus, but now you're starting to see many age groups are struggling with tinnitus, and it's really going to be going up. This is really not new information. Due to being at home, a lot of remote workers, you're going to see the tinnitus and eustachian tube dysfunction numbers skyrocket. And this is why I've been really trying to push the content out, because I really think that this is going to be a big wake-up call for a lot of people. And what I want to alert the media about and alert everyone about is that when you deal with these type of symptoms, you're not always going to relate this to just tinnitus and just eustachian tube dysfunction all the time. And for all of you out there that are wondering, what are my vitamin D levels looking like? This is why it's very important to do your research and to see and to get yourself checked out and make sure your vitamin D levels are where they should be, because most of the time, those that are diagnosed with tinnitus and even some with eustachian tube dysfunction have very low vitamin D levels. And how important is vitamin D to us? Vitamin D may help reduce inflammation. It may improve immune function in the middle ear and eustachian tube, leading to improved tube function and reduced symptoms. Vitamin D may help regulate the expression of genes involved in eustachian tube development and function, promoting healthy tube structure and function. Vitamin D also is going to help improve muscle function in coordination with the eustachian tube, facilitating better ear pressure regulation. And this is why it's so important when you have this kind of condition as eustachian tube dysfunction and tinnitus. You're going to realize that the muscles play a very key role in how your ear functions. And this is why I try to tell many people out there that most of the time when you're dealing with tinnitus and eustachian tube dysfunction, it's not always just an allergy problem. It's not always a food sensitivity problem. Most of the time it has to do with the structure of the jaw and the muscles surrounding that structure. And now we're obviously finding out, and this is not new information. I think I talked about this in many videos before. I'll also link to several studies showing that vitamin D is one of the main culprits behind tinnitus and the problems with the ringing, the buzzing, and all these weird and awful sounds that you hear. That's why it's so important when you're dealing with these problems with the ear that our diet isn't checked. When I was struggling with eustachian tube dysfunction and even tinnitus, my diet wasn't awful. And that's the thing. Your diet doesn't have to be awful. Like, you don't have to be a consumer of soda all day and fast food all day. I wasn't at that extent. It was just I wasn't putting the nutrients that I needed daily. We need these nutrients daily. We need our spinach. We need our healthy green leafy vegetables like kale. We need our celery for vitamin C. We need vitamin K. We need all these healthy greens and leafy green vegetables into our diet. We also need a good amount of fat. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. So basically what that means is you need healthy fats too. You don't need to extract all fat from your diet. You need healthy fats like avocados. You need even sometimes good protein, good chicken. If you're not if you're a vegetarian or you're a vegan, there's a lot of options for protein, potatoes. There's things for beans. There's things that you can get your fat from. You don't always have to just consume meat, but you need a good, healthy fat diet in order for vitamin D to be absorbed. One of the main problems with vitamin D is some ask, how much of vitamin D should I consume? Well, that depends on the individual. It's kind of hard to answer that question. You want to be sure that if you're low on vitamin D, first you want to get your levels checked. make sure to see where you are. If you're very low, which most of you will come out to be low, I will say that right now. Most of you, especially now, some of you living on the East Coast of the East Coast of the United States, or in parts of different countries where you don't get a lot of sunlight, you're going to probably be low in vitamin D. And that's why it's so important that you get your levels checked. Make sure that it all adds up. If it doesn't, then you need to start putting all this stuff into action. But regardless, you need to start putting this stuff into action to begin with. You want to make sure to increase your vitamin D levels. Some say, okay, well, how much should I take? Well, your doctor will put that into place for you based on where you are. Once you find out where you are, they're going to probably say between 600 to 800. But a lot of physicians, a lot of nutritionists are starting to say that's between 6 to 800 is not enough vitamin D. They're actually thinking more closer to 1,000 to 5,000 vitamin D levels. And so you want to be sure that depending on where you are and what your doctor, who you're going to be getting your care from, is going to be understanding where you are. That's when you need to make that adjustment. But vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin, and you want to make sure that you have adequate supply of good gut bacteria, good body fat, and you want to make sure that the vitamin D is absorbed correctly. That's one of the biggest things. You can take as much vitamin D as you possibly think you can take, but if it's not absorbed correctly and it's not done right, your body's not going to benefit from that. One of the biggest reasons why you hear the clicking sounds, the muffling sounds, and like I always tell everybody, people ask, what is that clicking? Well, most likely it's the jaw, the alignment of the jaw, or simply inflammation of the inner ear. This is where vitamin D is going to come in and help that. Vitamin D may also help reduce oxidative stress and inflammation in the inner ear, which can contribute to tinnitus. Vitamin D may help promote the health and survival of hair cells in the inner ear, which can be damaged or degenerating in tinnitus. Vitamin D may help regulate the neural activity and plasticity in the auditory system, which can help alleviate tinnitus symptoms. Now, that's why it's important that you get your vitamin D levels checked so you know where you are with that. So I can't stress enough. I know I've said it 4 or 5 times. Check your vitamin D levels. It's really good. You're going to see this everywhere. If you haven't already seen this on the news, the media is popping this out everywhere. You're going to see how vitamin D plays a huge role with tinnitus, regardless of what you've heard. It's not always allergies. It's not always just the way it is because of your age and how the society and where you are and how you're. It's very important to understand that our vitamin levels play a huge role in how our body functions. The inflammation that we carry, how we need to extract that inflammation from our body. Our inner ear is strong but delicate at the same time. So if we don't have the appropriate nutrients going into the ear in the first place, it's going to be hard to find a good determination in order to heal. So remember, I'm going to post several studies of vitamin D into the description. Make sure to get your levels checked, see where you are. And if you're already at the point where you know where they are, then now it's going to be important to make sure they stay up, making sure you get the appropriate levels of vitamin D into your system. Make sure it's absorbed correctly. Again, you want to make sure you have a good diet surrounding getting those levels up as well. And again, here's the thing: if you are in a high level stress environment all the time, whether that be work or where you live, or just you having problems in your circle of people that you deal with, remember, stress, depression, and lack of sleep lowers your vitamin D levels. It lowers the chances of you healing eustachian tube dysfunction, and it lowers whatever you've already worked for. So if you come to your doctor or you watch this video and you say, hey, I've done all those things, start thinking about what else are you doing to lower those things too. Because I had that same argument. I would go see someone and say, hey, I've been doing this, and that. But then I have to remember I had a job where I was stressing all the time. So remember, what you do in conjunction of what you're trying to do to heal is very important, because if you don't line them up correctly or you do things that are detrimental, you're going to start lowering all the work you put in. It's like working out for 30 days, 90 days, and then you take like 5 months off. You can't expect your body to maintain the level of sufficiency that it got to if you do things to backtrack all the work you have been doing. So remember, take a look at your vitamin D levels. You'll see how that plays a huge role with your ear health. And again, there's other things like medications and things that can have a lot to do with where your levels are and how many you need. So that will be for another time. But for now, just remember, let's start there and keep your body in the best position it can be in to heal from whatever you're dealing with. So I hope this video was very helpful for you. If it was, please take time to subscribe to the channel. I try to bring content as often as possible. But in the meantime, I'm going to step out of the J1 studio and leave you in good hands with this video. Like anything else, folks, we're here to simply go back to the basics. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video.